Hi boys and girls, I decided to do this video because I have been assigning some lessons last week on perimeter and area, and I did notice that we didn't do so well on some of the quizzes, and I know that perimeter and area can be a little bit confusing because sometimes we mix the two of those up. And so, sorry, lost my marker. I wanted to do a quick review. Please do not skip my video, okay? Watch the whole thing. I promise you it will be short, and I think it'll help you have a better understanding, okay? All right, so let's start with perimeter. So perimeter is the distance around a shape, okay? So here's an example, and by the way, in 4th grade, your focus for perimeter and area is on rectangles, okay? So it would be measuring this side plus this side plus this side plus this side. So just like it says in the definition, it's measuring the distance all around a shape. One way you can do that, of course, is just add every side, okay? So side plus side plus side plus side, okay? And the S represents that side plus that side plus that side plus that side. Another way you can do it is, I'm sure you've been hearing the words length and width, okay? So length is the measurement of usually the longer side of a shape. So let's say I'm gonna make like a cursive L, okay? So length would be the longer side, so that means this is also length, and this side right here would be the width, okay? And this would also be the width because it's the other side, opposite side. And by the way, guys, in a rectangle, opposite sides are equal. So if this measures 7 feet, 7 inches, 7 centimeters, then this is going to measure 7. If this measures 5 inches, then that's going to measure 5 inches, okay? That's a given because they have to be equal if it's a rectangle, okay? So then another way you can do it is you can go length plus width plus length plus width. Do not be confused by all these letters. It's the same thing. Side plus side plus side plus side, or length, long side plus short side plus long side plus short side. But we don't call it that. We call it length and width, okay? And then a last way, which is a shortcut, and you've been seeing this in a lot of the videos you've been watching, is people get the idea that, oh, there's 2 lengths we have to add together, so why not just do them 2 times? Okay, we know about that. And there's 2 widths we have to add, so why not just do those 2 times? And then when you add that together, that should equal your perimeter. And what is perimeter? It's the distance all around a shape. Okay? So when you see all these letters and all these little weird formulas, do not be confused. They're just shortcuts and different ways of getting to the same answer. Okay? So perimeter, distance around. When would we be looking for perimeter? Well, let's see. When would you need to measure the outside of something? Okay, let's say your family is building a small little garden in your front yard, or a little vegetable patch or something like that. Well, let's say that you guys want to build a perimeter around it, like maybe with bricks or with pieces of wood. Well, you would need to know how much you would need, okay? So you would measure the distance around that, all right? Another place where you might need perimeter is, let's say that your dog has an area of the yard that you want them to use, and you need to put some fencing around that area. Again, you would have to measure the distance around the area and then buy enough fencing to cover that area, okay? All right, now let's switch to perimeter. I'm sorry, to area. All right, let's say goodbye to perimeter. I forgot to mention, you could have copied that. So hopefully you did. And if you didn't, you can rewind back and copy it and pause. Okay, Here we go. Area. I'm gonna use a different color. Purple. Purple. Okay, area. Area is related to perimeter, but it's not the same. Area is the distance around, the distance inside of a shape, not around, inside. So think about this, boys and girls. When we were at school and you would go out to recess, we would always say to you, stay in your area. When we say that, we're not telling you to be around the outside of your area. We're telling you to be inside your area. So whenever you forget, oh, which one is area? Which one is area? Area, oh, like when they tell us stay in our area. It's the inside space, okay? So then let me draw a shape. We're gonna stick with rectangles because that's the focus of 4th grade. So the distance inside a shape would be all of the inside space. Now, what's tricky about that is how do you measure inside space when inside space is just space, right? Well, one way that they do it is they measure in square units. So what people do is they fill in the space using inches, centimeters, feet, but in squares, okay? So I'm just gonna do an example. I'll try my best to make it nice and equal. Let's see here. It's not that easy. Okay, I did my best to make every little space equal. Okay, so in this case, we have use a different color. I have 1 square unit, 2 square units, 3 square units, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I have 18 square units. So the measurement of this inside space is 18 square units. Notice I said units because this is a pretend model, so I don't really know the real measurement. Now, I could tell you the real measurement. So what happens when you have a rectangle and it doesn't have those little squares inside, right? You might panic and say, what am I supposed to do? Okay, well, you can still figure out this inside space, but you're gonna need some measurements to help you out. Here we had squares to help us out, but usually you will be given measurements. So I'm gonna stick with the same numbers from earlier. Let's say that this side measures 7 inches, and let's say that this side measures 5 inches. Again, boys and girls, common sense. If that measures 7 inches, then that's gonna measure 7 inches because they are equal. If this measures 5, that's gonna be 5, right? Okay, but we are figuring out the area now. Now remember guys, area is related to multiplication. Area models, multiplication, okay? So since we don't have the little squares, but we do know this is 7 inches, we're imagining that we have 7 little inch squares here. And we're imagining that we have 5 little inch squares going down. And that would lead us to multiplication. 7, 5 times, 7, 7, 7, 7, right? 5 times would equal, 7 times 5 would equal 35 inches, right? That is the formula for area. Let me write it somewhere. Area equals length times width. That's the length, that's the width, okay? Area equals length times width. Now we are missing one key thing, okay? When you measure area, because we measure in square units, you would either have to write 45 square inches, you need to include the word square, okay, or inches squared, or a shortcut that is used is to put a little 2 over the measurement, okay, and the 2 lets people know that you're measuring in square units, not in regular units, okay? So hopefully, boys and girls, this little review will help you. There is one thing I want to make sure that you don't get tricked by, okay? So again, this is area, inside space. For inside space, you either count the squares inside or you look at the length and the width and you multiply those two together, okay? Again, if you didn't copy this, pause and go back. All right, one little quick thing I want to point out that happens sometimes with perimeter. Let's go back to perimeter. The distance around perimeter, okay? One thing that happens is that sometimes they will give you this measurement. Let's say it's 8 centimeters, and this measurement. Let's say it's 4 centimeters, okay? And they're asking you to find the perimeter. Okay, 2 mistakes that boys and girls make. Okay, and I'm gonna switch my color because it looks like this is not very dark. Okay, anyway, perimeter. One thing kids do is they know perimeter is the distance around. So guess what they do? They add 8 plus 4, and that equals 12, and then they think they're done. Yay, I found the answer. That's the perimeter. Well, no, that is not the perimeter. You measured half of a shape, and you ignored the other half. Remember, guys, if perimeter's distance around, you got to go all the way around. And you might say, but what should I do? There's no measurement there and there's no measurement there. But our common sense and our math knowledge tells us that if that's 8, that's going to be 8. And if that's 4, that's going to be 4. So make sure you include those 2 numbers in your final answer. Okay, that's one mistake I see. So we don't want to do that. The second mistake I see is that because boys and girls only see 2 numbers, they say to themselves, I guess I just have to multiply them. Well, guess what? You just figured out the area. But that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for perimeter. Okay? So the most important tip I can give you guys when you're doing perimeter and area is first really be clear on which one am I doing. Am I doing perimeter or am I doing area? Perimeter is the distance all around, so I have to make sure I add in all 4 sides. If I'm doing area, that's the inside space. Stay in your area, remember? Inside space, okay? So for that one, I either have to count little squares inside, if the squares are given, and if they're not, then I have to multiply the length and the width. Okay, hope this helps, guys, and I will have to see what I have planned for right after this video so you can practice. Bye.